comes down to this, folks. DarkZero versus Beast Coast for the start of our Super Week here on Consulate. Let's get down to it.
DarkZero, of course, has those two outside bans. Look at the first one here, and we're going to follow usual trends. Thatcher is going to be the first operator knocked out of the pool here. Beast Coast quickly picking their second one. We'll see if things align from what we had in the previous matchup, and they're actually not. You're going to be a little different here. This is still a good pick, though, when you consider the amount of top-down angles that need to be established for most site takes here. Sledge, definitely a very interesting ban coming out there from Beast Coast, and certainly makes sense considering the map that we're playing on. Mira going to be next up here as we're just rolling right through these.
Yeah, cutting them down. This last one rolling in to see how DarkZero wants the defense to play, but that Sledge ban gonna stand out to all of us. I mean, the rest of these following suit with what we had on our previous map, so just not having the Nomad in there, instead the Sledge, but Valkyrie gonna be banned out last. Anyways, getting back to this Sledge ban, we saw Beast Coast with a very impromptu ban last week as well, and they actually ended up banning out Buck, excuse me, Buck up against TSM, and this time they're going to be banning out the Sledge, so really targeting these soft destructors and making sure that they can't possibly have any influence over these rounds. Sledge in particular on this map so strong at attacking the downstairs site, and he can also have some influence when it comes to hitting admin upstairs.
So that tells me we're going to see quite a bit of that Buck play coming in, which Anthony's already given us, and that's probably going to remain a pretty consistent pick, not just for BC, but more than likely for DarkZero when they get their hand at the attacking side as well. Either way, working our way into it, starting at the basement yet again, similarly to how our last map went. DarkZero jumping right into it with a really standard setup here of operators in order to defend this out. The most notable lack right now on DarkZero's utility side is going to be the fact that they don't have any wall denial. At least not any usual wall denial through either Cade or another operator as well. But they do at least bring the mute jammers as sort of some passive wall denial, which can still cause problems because of the fact that we have Thatcher banned now. But obviously, if Beast Coast is able to get control of Piano, they can put the Buck in position, shotgun out those holes up on top, and deal with those very quickly. It's not going to be a major obstacle, assuming Beast Coast doesn't have any issues with the roam clear.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. DarkZero not opting for the laser gates that we've seen throughout the day, and instead going back to basics when it comes to a roam game here on Consulate. Really liking this lineup here, but we'll have to see how it goes for them. Definitely centralizing around getting rid of that drone game. This is set up to see NJR find some success, and I'd love to see him top frag here for DarkZero if possible. We haven't seen a really good pop-off game from him just yet, but Consulate could prove to be just that. 30 seconds in now as Beast Coast starts to hit the map. No real clear going on just yet. Just good intel gathering when it comes down to site, as well as a breach already open on panel 1.
See, of course, the drone working its way, and just a spot of the positions of the Evil Eyes, which are being placed in pretty standard positions for the defense of this site, so no surprises in that department for Beast Coast. What they still have to worry about, of course, is going to be this roam game that was a really big problem, especially for Oxygen. Looking at that previous matchup here, we'll see how Beast Coast is able to maybe handle things a little bit better here. Anthony first in here for Beast Coast's roster, already having cleared out Piano, which is interesting considering that there's still the threat from upstairs. We'll have to be very careful of NJR, possibly another member from DarkZero, trying to dive down onto these players while they're attempting to clear and, more importantly, gather intel about what's going on the actual site here. Still over half the round to deal with these players, though, so not necessarily pressed for time. As again, as you can see, Beast Coast still has a plan to deal with these players, whether it's just holding the angles or by otherwise preventing their rotate away from their current positions here. However, still going to cause problems. Hyper able to find a new angle from the inside, a projector there through the hatch, catches Anthony in the main lobby downstairs.
Beast Coast seemingly lost in the jungle that DarkZero has constructed inside of Consulate is going so well for them right now. Able to get the first pick and also some damage off onto Rudy. NJR as well as Hyper able to just simply bide their time upstairs and continuing to push Beast Coast down and down on this timer. It seems as though they want to try and hit the site now, though, as Rudy's moving up with that case on the garage door. Sippin currently playing yellow and has Overwatch for his teammate. This is where the gunfights are going to ensue. Sippin getting into some trouble on yellow, but hasn't been tagged up just yet, just mostly trading back and forth rounds, but finally some damage going on towards the defense. NJR with a big frag to slow them down, but it's immediately refragged as Beast Coast continue to try and find the frags they need on site, but Rudy still can't find an entry point here as the toxic smoke actually hasn't left. Finally clears up for him, though, and he'll have some room to breathe. Rudy starts planting, 25 seconds or 25% left as finally it gets thrown down. 3 versus 3 here with case control in Beast Coast's hands, and it's going all fall their way. Hyper, the only remaining member, able to tag up Rudy with a nice headshot, but cleaned up by Fozo outside on the car. Masterfully done from Beast Coast after that mid-round transition point.
Very tense late round scenario there as well for Beast Coast, attempting to get their plan onto the ground. Thankfully, the pressure put against DarkZero was enough to give them the room they needed in order to get that plan on the ground. That on top of as well, the overall lack of clear upstairs was an interesting choice from Beast Coast that I thought was going to come back to bite them in a very, very big way. But regardless, it did allow them to focus on still the intel gathering aspect of the round while they were waiting for the members of DarkZero that were upstairs to try and pull aggressive moves on them. They could set aside 2 to 3 players to focus entirely on the basement and just keep the others sort of on flank watch duty to fend off those players. Didn't necessarily work out at the beginning of the round due to the shenanigans that happened in piano there, but they eventually turned it around into their favor and turned out to be a pretty decent strat at the end of the day. So good little innovation there from Beast Coast, getting past the issue that our last teams seem to have problems with.
Yeah, as you were saying, kind of a not the best strat when it comes down to it, but Beast Coast still able to make it work, and that's truly what matters. And it really feels like DarkZero just got disjointed there when it came to the roam game as well as what was going on site. They had NJR and Hyper upstairs, and they did have influence over the round when it came to the frags, but they weren't able to actually shut down Beast Coast when it came to the entry onto the site, and that's where DarkZero had the most problems. All of their players were pushed back into cafe and security office. Nobody was actually playing inside of garage or had prevention in order to stop the plant from going down. They burned all of the smokes and everything trying to prevent Beast Coast from getting inside, but when you run out of that utility, you no longer have prevention. Beast Coast set up on the mid floor, kill the rotation when DarkZero tries to get their players back downstairs, and simply handle everyone as they try to rotate out from deeper inside of sight. Fantastic stuff from Beast Coast, and a really good way to handle Consulate overall.
Time to see if they can get themselves another one now. Is going to be going into similar setup in the early round here from DarkZero. A lot of emphasis on the upstairs hold, specifically in Projector for Eclipse. Hyper also supporting from inside of Copier too. More than likely going to see these guys peeled back in the event pressure starts to work its way. And in fact, there's a third element added to the upstairs hold as well here. Hyper makes some bullets thrown at him as one member of Beast Coast is able to successfully enter admin, but so far alone here. Not going to stay that way for very long, though. A couple more making their way in, and looks like we got a skeleton key kill, I believe, there against Hyper, taking him down as Anthony was attempting to deal with the walls going into yellow, but instead took down Hyper in the process. So a good find there from Anthony, who once again strikes first in this round.
And this is such a scary thing about Consulate. It's just the amount of pressure that can come from the windows. All of a sudden, a skeleton key bursts open a wall and you're downed and dead. Nothing really to be found here for DarkZero as the pressure continues. Eclipse gets one, but he doesn't realize that someone's immediately on top of him, sipping with a refrag, and all of a sudden, Beast Coast jump ahead once again. NJR now stranded on an island inside of Cabinet. He's trying to get the refrag here, and he's not able to get it either. Sipping with the pre-fire, just continues to have bullets inside of that R43 as they eat this DarkZero roam alive.
Zippin mastering the roam clear upstairs there, leaving Beast Coast with more than an adequate amount of time to be able to try and take control over this site. A 2v4 as well, so options here for DarkZero are going to be incredibly limited. Even looking at utility, they'll obviously have the Evil Eyes to use, but in a 2vx, it's going to be very dangerous just to go on to those. So teammates will have to give out all that intel from the grave. And obviously, we still have the 3 Toxic Babes, but that's all the delay capability DarkZero are going to bring to the table. That, of course, beside their guns. Fozo, the lurk to the inside here. It is pre-aimed against him as far as I could tell, but still, Fozo wins it anyway. Rudy quickly gets the follow-up against Mint. Beast Coast don't even really have to attack the site as they win it purely through frags to take the second round.
I mean, some fantastic play coming through for Beast Coast right now. And the craziest thing is the sludge ban is working just wonderfully for them right now. That was a Beast Coast ban, mind you, just to remind everybody. And instead, they've been bringing the buck, which is finding so much influence from these windows, especially inside of that round where we saw Anthony get that initial frag onto Hyper. Consulate, a map where we see a lot of window play happen. And with that skeleton key, he doesn't actually have to get into the building to use his soft destruction. So he's able to open up a lot of different lines of sight as long as those things obviously aren't reinforced. So when it comes to those top floor holds, DarkZero have to worry about a lot deeper threat when it comes down to it, and they weren't exactly prepared for that inside of that last round. Now Beast Coast are continuing to adapt throughout the round as well. Whenever they get really strong pressure on DarkZero and they feel as though they have that map control, especially when it comes down to that sight pressure. If you guys saw, they actually used 2 members of Beast Coast Coast on a horizontal angle, one on each side, one on garage, as well as one inside of the lockers area / the cafe door, and then the other two to keep the pressure from up top, applying pressure from both sides. If anybody moves across site, the two top players kill them. I mean, this is just so well done, John. There's really no hole inside of their plan so far throughout this. I mean, they're getting everything they need to make these plans work.
Very, very solid play coming out from Beast Coast so far throughout this map, and it's enough to force DarkZero off of their initial site hold. A second attempt that they just made back in round 2 also not going their way. So finally, we go to the first floor hold on the inside of lobby and piano, hoping that a more spread out setup is going to work better in DarkZero's favor. You can see, obviously, they'll be able to directly contest this upstairs roam clear a lot more efficiently with, I believe, 4 out of 5 of their players in reach of being able to do that. You've got Sky holding downstairs, another player on the yellow steps, Hyper, also playing around Spiral there too. So a couple of variable positions from DarkZero that can shift at a moment's notice. They're hoping to be able to put in the way of Beast Coast when they finally start clearing things out. For Beast Coast, though, it looks like the clear is going to begin from the basement, interestingly enough, as Anthony first in yet again here to find a relatively empty hold for the most part from DZ, but that'll change as he starts to approach Spiral.
And he's going to be able to open up so many angles with that shotgun as well, able to hold down the kitchen door as well. Look over towards the bottom of Spiral. Really strong positions for Beast Coast if anyone does try to rotate downstairs from the defense. But still, BC trying to find some different areas to work around. DarkZero still has control of this top floor. And this is going to be one of the hallmarks of the defense on this site, is holding down Projector. That's Eclipse's job, and he's done a bang-up job of it so far, and as well as throughout history. This is one of the areas where he continues to shine, is on this top floor hold. DarkZero doing a very good job of slowing down Beast Coast. A lot of damage onto Sip, and some pre-fires coming through, but finally a trade ensues as it's a 4v4 at the halfway mark.
Good finds from DarkZero there. More importantly, able to consistently hold on to their positions. You've got a couple of players in positions where they could find themselves exposed in a moment, though. Sky being one of them here. You can see all the soft destruction slowly being opened up around him. Mint, with another good find, though, takes out Fozo, and it seems like the spread out play from DZ may have been exactly what they needed. Beast Coast struggling to tear this apart as they've been doing against the previous 2 basement holds from DZ. Down to the final minute here, BC still yet to trade out their lost teammate to bring it back down into a 3v3 and try to push it from there. And this timer is not getting any more favorable, working into their favor here. DarkZero still with presence all over the map here. Beast Coast still with a massive checklist to try to run down, and unfortunately just really not enough time to do it. Players are attempting to make individual pushes now. You can see Sippin doing that from the top side. Banch is going to slow him down as he rounds the corner. Another kill is going to be found here as well by Skies, and Sippin, it's completely pinched here by the player holding at the very, very end of the long hold doorway, as well as the top Spiral hold. Anthony going to try and trade that, but absolutely not. Hyper gets the double at the end, and DarkZero claim the round.
Definitely the strongest round that we've seen from DarkZero. Map control completely in their favor every step of the way, and Beast Coast just cannot find a foothold when they desperately needed one. Fantastic stuff for DarkZero, but they need to continue to line these rounds together. Archives Tellers is the very next site. Now, when it comes down to the split site, this is a very, very weird location. Mainly because of just how it's played. Tellers is actually truly not played at all. It is just simply an area in which nitro cells go off and people tend to die. Archives is what we're going to see DarkZero centralized around, as well as them trying to prevent the top take from Beast Coast, or at least delay it for as long as possible. Let's see how they want to set this up. We've seen some pretty interesting things with this recently as well, John. Like we saw a Rooney coming into play inside of our last matchup.
Yeah, very curious to see if DarkZero try to do anything more unique here from what we normally expect. He's talking about like that basement hole the teams generally tend to drift towards, and more than likely we're going to get that for the most part from DZ. You can see they've got 3 nitros over on their utility there, and that's probably going to be pretty heavily emphasized to the inside of the basement. But still want to see if they try to really lean on their roam game anymore, because that was a big component of what worked for them in the previous game. Beast Coast just had such a hard time locking down any one single player, as they were bleeding them left and right, because there was just far too many factors to deal with over the course of that 3-minute round there. And they could definitely pull something similar on this site if they wanted to. So let's take a look and see exactly what DarkZero is going to try to throw up Beast Coast here, as they'll be going for a very, very centralized push onto the Visa and admin side of the building.
And we'll have to see how this round continues as 2 Selmas go off.
Does that actually work?
Get
oh my god, that actually works.
That All right, Ubisoft. All right. Okay, we're not gonna talk about it. Anyways,
Quick, hide the clip. Hide the clip.
hide
Don't
it.
show
Somebody,
the devs.
I don't even want to see it in my peripherals. Like,
I do not see it.
if I can't see them, then they can't see me. Like, just don't look at it. You know, it'll be fine. But the hatch is gonna get opened nevertheless,
really
and I think that
confused right
DarkZero
now.
is as confused as we are. Like, why is the summon charge popping that open? But whatever. Beast Coast finding a pretty unique way to pop an electrified hatch. But we'll see if that has any influence over the actual round. So far, it's still the DarkZero show, and NJR is the maestro of this one.
Good hold so far here from DZ, yet again relying on those extended positions to find early picks and overall decrease the efficiency of the clear here from Beast Coast. And so far that strategy's been paying off for them in the previous 2 rounds. It's a long duel that some of the members of Beast Coast are going to have to try to push themselves into here, and you can see it does not necessarily play into their favor. A peek from the copy side is going to send you right into the crosshair of NJR, and he's got support coming from Eclipse, I believe, if the need should arise from that. So Beast Coast, once again, a lot of work cut out for them here. Mint with another good find here. That's already 2 players down from Beast Coast. Is Rudy going to be next to fall?
Difficult situation now for Beast Coast. Usually they're not the ones getting put on their back foot. Either these rounds fire off in quick succession and they're able to continue to bully their way, or it just doesn't work out at all, and that's exactly what's happening for them right now. The kills continue to light up blue across the kill feed as it's all down to Ghost, and he's going to drop right into Mint's arms, but it's actually going to be the reverse Uno card instead, as Ghost actually makes our friend Mint draw 24. That's what I wanted to say, but Guno came out instead. But 40 seconds remain now for Ghost to try and clutch this up, but it doesn't seem as though that's quite possible at the moment. They're going to drone him out, and NJR is going to clean him up. That's not usually something that you exactly say when it comes to the defense, but the Mozzie is going to make that happen.
Definitely the case. Solid rounds being put up by DarkZero after a momentary issue here in the first 2 rounds of trying to hold those basement rounds. The big issue is going to be that they will potentially have to rotate back to it right now. You can even see that going contested for a moment on the select screen. But it does look like they're going to go back to that instead of going for the outright second floor hold, which pretty much every team has drifted away from, at least in NA at this point. Just too exposed of a site. Too many ways for the attackers to work their way, I should say, around the setup there. So teams are not generally trending toward that hold right now.
Now, you remember like round 2 when Buck just eviscerated Hyper through a wall? Upstairs, that would be why they don't play that site.
Yeah.
Like, it's so difficult to play that area because like every single transition point in between the sites has a window on it, all of them, and they're all playable windows. So it just makes it so very difficult. And you wonder why people try to favor the downstairs sites. You know, they want basement, they want split, they want lobby, they want, you know, things where they can't possibly be shut down because of the upstairs and how congested it is with crossfires. So instead, we're headed back downstairs, and I don't think it's the worst selection in the world. They are going to go back to having the Vigil in play. Hyper's also going to pick up the Jaeger. We haven't had these two inside of the same basement lineup just yet for this squad, so we'll see if that has some influence.
All right, guys, getting into it. Very important round here for DarkZero. Obviously coming up on round 5, close to the end of the half. But the important part is DarkZero seems to not be too willing to take losses outside of this site, but it's still overall, for me, a very, very weak hold for them, looking at how Beast Coast have torn it apart on the previous 2 rounds here. Beast Coast is able to negotiate for that 3rd round. They're still going to be sitting in a very comfortable position when we switch sides, and then DarkZero will be very reliant on those attacker-sided rounds to try and close out the map, which is always a dangerous sentence to say unless we're on one of the very few attacker-sided maps currently in the pool.
Absolutely, but as you finish up that, things are already popping off, and by popping off, I mean popping open. This garage panel ripped to shreds on panels 1 and 3. Beast Coast already with some good presence as DarkZero still finishing up site recreation. Skies feels as though there's a couple of holes that needed to be made. New crossfires down low, but once again, Beast Coast completely ignoring this top roam from NJR and Hyper, and they've already gotten piano control here, Blue. I mean, again, DarkZero completely stunted. It doesn't seem like this top hold is truly affecting Beast Coast. They go around it every single time and just tell DarkZero, hey, why don't you come to us?
Yeah, I mean, as long as you know where the angles are being played from by DarkZero and can reliably cover those positions, I don't see why the strat from Beast Coast wouldn't work. In fact, I think it's a great step up here to potentially speed up the execute. Now, whether it'll lead to successful results every single time, that much is still in the air and needs to be studied by smarter people than me. But I still think it's a very, very good step forward here from Beast Coast to try and give them a lot more time to at least get onto the site, which is an issue that many, many teams run into, specifically on this map. Anthony really on the hunt to try and find that first pick down in the basement. But so far, no dice for Beast Coast here. They've successfully fended off the second floor, dropping down on top of them and destroying this take altogether. But now they need to get into the site. Some aggression from Anthony, gets him a kill against Mint, but Hyper just as quickly trades onto Sippin. So we still stay even at a 4v4 coming down to the final minute of play.
Well, lots of time left still for Beast Coast to work out this last remainder of the round. They have that initial pick, but it was traded back. They just need to attempt a plant here to continue to try and set up for that. Good vertical pressure, just simply need a yellow player to hold the cross, and may have an attempt coming through momentarily. Sky's still with 3 toxic babes, and that's going to be the mainstay utility to try and prevent Beast Coast from pushing any further. Ghost trying to clear up the site utility here, still bearing down on security as well as kitchen, and this is looking like DarkZero from their previous garage defense. They're pushed back, and they can't exactly find a way forward. Eclipse might have an opportunity here to try and get rid of this. Oh, this Echo utility. The Yokai drones could have a huge effect on this round. They might be able to get the stop. Skies gets another kill here, able to get the last toxic babe out. Anthony gets a frag onto Hyper, but it's Eclipse who needs to stay alive. Rudy goes for the plant once again. Can they possibly get it? No, they can't. Skies goes huge. DarkZero with the utility to stop the plant as well. That's a beautiful round 5 from them as they take the lead for the very first time.
Skies with a massive hold there. It's more important than you think as well. Stokes brought it up at one point there, but if he falls at any point, more than likely the Echo is not going to be able to get that pulse up because that player has to defend himself at that point in the round and keep himself still in play. So not only does he find 3 incredibly important kills that shut the round down, but it also allows his teammate to stay on camera, stay on that Yokai drone, and get the pivotal last-second interrupt that prevented a successful win there from Beast Coast. Really nice stuff from DZ, and now they're going to take the lead here at 3-2 heading into the final round of the half, and they're in good position to potentially make it 4-2 as well, as they're heading back to a site they've already been able to control.
I mean, what a fantastic adjustment from them as well. They know how the first Grouch rounds went for Beast Coast, as they completely went around the upstairs hold and instead hit piano. So what does DarkZero do? Well, instead of actually attempting to rotate into this hold for piano, which was guarded by air jabs as well as Foza holding the flank, instead, they rotate all of their players except NJR downstairs. They play 4 on site and let NJR attempt to get a flank off, but as soon as he realizes that there's air jabs down, he doesn't try to go for too much, just simply did not have the utility at that point in time to get rid of any of those air jabs. So DarkZero play it from the site instead, play on that utility, which they're so damn good at, and they prove time and time again that they are the best when it comes to this style of play. Very well done from them, and they have an opportunity to go up 4-2 on Beast Coast here as we're on the last round of their defense.
DarkZero looking to seal the deal here for the first half and set themselves on the right foot forward after Beast Coast got off to a booming start. They failed to make impact here due to some great holds from DarkZero, both on the roam game for the outer sites as well as in the site itself, just in that previous round right there. Beast Coast still going to bring a very aggressive foot forward here at the beginning of round number 6. Some early drone info going into the lobby, and we do have a 2-player stack sitting outside. Curious as to Rudy's position to see if they're going to try anything hyper aggressive right at the start of this round, but that would definitely be on the... Oh, no. Oh, Skies had the lineup, just not the timing, unfortunately, as a player walks right past his crosshair, and he's pretty much none the wiser until well after the fact that player has cleared the cross. So missed opportunity there. Not anything huge being missed out on, however. Nothing that he can't make up later on in the round. But already Beast Coast, a lot of pressure coming very close to the site. We may be seeing a more directly aggressive play from them. Instead of trying to spend time clearing out that upstairs roam, they may attempt to ignore it and go right for the site again. We'll see here over the next few seconds how they try to play this.
I honestly think that that's just the Beast Coast mentality. It's, you know, just kind of like the ocean. It really doesn't care about what everybody else is doing. They're just going to do their own thing instead. And it's worked for 2 rounds out of the set that we've played so far, but I don't necessarily know how that's going to apply to the lobby, mainly because of this top floor hold. If they're not able to get rid of these DarkZero players, these angles can be extremely troublesome when trying to get a plant down. Beast Coast mostly centralized on these windows, attempting to get rid of the bathroom player. Rudy moving forward. Fosa going to get one one. Hyper finds a frag of his own, but now it's NJR to follow through. The refrags, though, from both of these squads, insurmountable right now as it continues to happen. Hyper comes back into sight, finds himself a ghost as he's continuing hunting, able to down Fozo as well. Rudy trying to find the refrag, but he's been left all alone with case in hand. All of Beast Coast's offensive wishes lie on his shoulders. How is he going to act? AK-12 not able to land most shots. He's got the pistol out, able to down Hyper, but Eclipse and Mint still alive here and have a chance to seal out this round. I don't think there's going to be a chance to get Fozo up, so instead he goes for the case plan.
And actually could probably sneak this off too. DarkZero don't look like they're expecting it to happen, so that's going to go down onto the ground. DarkZero going to very quickly shift. They'll finish off Fozo as well, as they were trying to bait his corpse for a res there, so that's why he was being kept up for so long. What this does, though, is it gives Rudy a solid 10 seconds or longer to get into a solid post-plant position. Is he going to try to read into that? Quick slash on the outer balcony window to see if they can get a reaction from Rudy. It won't work, but Mint going to spot him out from the window instead, delete Rudy from existence there, and leave plenty of excess time for the counter defuse. 4-2 will be our score at halftime, as DarkZero will hold the lead.
Well, a nice attempt there by Beast Coast, but it was not enough when it came down to it. DarkZero with too much control, especially when it came to the top floor, and that's what came back to bite Beast Coast. Nice attempt there, but obviously it wasn't written up that way. Too many players, again, on that top floor, and just good pressure and good team play overall from DZ coming into the half there. Those last 4 rounds really showing that DarkZero know how to adjust up against these squads, and I think this is the thing that a lot of people were scared for Beast Coast coming into this game, is that it seems as though they know how to play one particular style extremely well, but when they're faced with adversity, they kind of fall flat. Nothing really has changed inside of what their game plan was from those first initial rounds. They still tried to hit the site directly. Just this time around, DarkZero was ready for it. They played for the trades. They were able to keep the man advantage, and that's simply how they snowballed through the rest of those rounds, and we find ourselves at the 4-2 scoreline.
Beast Coast trying to thrive in the chaos, it seems, and while I appreciate that strategy, I think it's a very much needed take on Siege. It's a very hard way to play the game there when you see how chaotic some of those mid-round gun battles were going there. So Beast Coast probably going to have to refine that attacking side a little bit more here for future matches, but definitely like what we were seeing coming out of them. Bit of a different note more than likely going to come from them now as they switch to the defensive side, and immediately we're going to see Castle, Rooney, and a whole spread of other operators coming into the picture here for the lobby hold as they'll try to really cordon off the piano area. You can see their Ghost just immediately throwing down the castle barricades on the 2 windows to try and slow down or at least eat up some of the utility from DarkZero. This will be especially so.
Oh my
nice
God.
pre-fire there from Anthony as well. Nearly gets bent, takes a chunk of HP off them there as a bullet does connect. But anyway there, this is already a nice adjustment when you consider the fact that we have Sledge banned, because normally you'd think, oh, the castle panels, no problem, just Sledge them. Well, Sledge is banned right now, so it's going to be a little bit more costly to take those out than you might think.
Yeah, and that presents a fantastic point as well, John. I mean, the thing about castle barricades that people don't realize, like you were talking about, is that it takes utility to clear those. And without somebody like Sledge who has 25 hits and a sledgehammer, you have to use some very important utility that could be used on other things. And with characters like a Rooney in play as well, that makes it to where this is even more difficult for them.
No.
But no, looks as though we're going to have a ping and a nice fry here by Skyre. He's able to find one inside of Projector. Good start here for DarkZero inside of round 7.
Anthony tries to find a bit of a laser beam angle at the beginning. DarkZero show him how it's done instead as they isolate out Rudy, finding him through a couple different wall panels, I think, in order to line up that kill. Very good lineup indeed coming in from Skies, who's been on a heater this game here, coming off the defensive half there with that great win. The inside of the basement site, and now getting himself a very good entry here for DarkZero to utilize to get themselves in the building on their very first attacking round.
Well, slow moving around right now for DarkZero. The only real action we've seen, that pre-fire early game and a frag onto Rudy. But since then, all quiet all around. Anthony with almost a beautiful frag onto Eclipse, but just over his head there. Not able to secure it. But now, DarkZero with full top control. This transitions well into a lobby offense as well, so we'll see if they're able to actually do anything here. But again, it's just very slow moving. They've gotten all their air jabs down. They're just simply waiting to see what Beast Coast are going to do. Some breaching charges down now to make sure that nobody can possibly try and leave the basement. So this is mostly going to be on these site players right now, but you can see the pressure is just so big right now from DZ, able to get deep angles into Z, now downing Sippin and making this situation even more difficult for the defense.
Sippin, unfortunately, not really in a position where he can be easily revived, so no one even going to really attempt that here. BC just trying to, again, bait the corpse, see if they can find a way to trade at least off of that death. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like they're running into a whole lot of success. Now, Ghost could be a bit of a different story. Looked like he wanted to try and make a run for a flank, but called it off at the last second and is pushing up the spiral stairs instead. But he'll still try to attempt to do the same thing, but fails to check the long haul here, going down over towards Visa. So Eclipse gets another free pick here. Will go untraded yet again. Attempted a nitro cell from Anthony, but not going to find impact. And even worse there, we're going to see him get knocked through a wall as he goes through an air jab on his way up. Last two players are going to fall, and DarkZero, a very well-deserved flawless round from them, as the members of Beast Coast just can't even get anything started within that round.
And that is very, very ill omens for Beast Coast right now. I mean, DarkZero are looking so strong inside of that offense, not missing a single I or T when it came down to it. Able to I mean, like there was nothing inside of that round that you can really say they did wrong, and that's the biggest problem for Beast Coast, is that DarkZero had full control from start to finish. So there's never really an opportunity for them to get back in it. Once they lost Rudy early on inside of that one, DarkZero just simply had so much control all across the entire site that Beast Coast could simply not operate anymore. I mean, even trying to have as little presence as like Z, for instance, that was not happening for them. So DarkZero simply are able to hold down things from up top and just wipe out all of these Beast Coast players, even getting the plant down as well. That is as flawless as you can get.
Definitely the case here. DarkZero are on a run, as they have been here over the past, I think this is 5 rounds straight from them, if I believe.
Indeed.
Yeah, because it was 2 from Beast Coast at the beginning. So DarkZero cannot be stopped, it seems, once they started themselves going, and now it's really up to BC. This was obviously their pause, for those who did not catch that on the broadcast. There are little graphics showing us that. And it's finally ended, so we're going to go back into the game now, see if the discussion that went on during that pause is going to make any significant difference in the results for Beast Coast as they head back down for another basement defense, and looks like they're bringing the castle back into the fold there as well on Anthony one more time.
Well, let's see how they try and apply this. We haven't seen their basement defense just yet, and to have Castle brought in here is definitely something that isn't exactly questionable, but I want to see how it's applied, because they're bringing a Rooney as well. They don't have any wall denial here, so the reinforcements are going to be popped immediately, but the good news is that they only have to worry about mint when it comes to that hard destruction, so you're more than likely just going to have panels 1 and 3 ripped apart, unless they want to try and go for like a mid-control type beat thing where they're going to try and work these hatches, but instead Rudy's actually going to pop that. So it looks as though they want to play this center area, and yep, this is exactly why the castle barricade's being brought, John. You can see how they're matching this up with the Aruni, specifically on this door inside of Antechamber, to try and play for prevention, not only from entry, but as well as throwables, as well as if anybody tries to push that, they're going to take damage, and they have the hole under it to play it for the shotgun for Rudy down low. There's just so many layers to this. DarkZero are going to have to lean on that drone game and hope it works out, and that's the beauty of what else is going on with this Beast Coast lineup, is DarkZero aren't threatened in that department. So we'll see how slow they're going to take this, trying to fully understand what's going on.
It's a big kill box set up to work against DZ here as they try to go for a lobby into the bathroom clear, but we'll have to see if it pans out, as there's ways to work around that position without having to necessarily run directly into it. Already some damage going on this Sippin here too, as he seems to have been pushed out towards Spiral by one of the members of DarkZero. Might have been NJR, might have been another one, as we didn't get to catch that exact fight here. But either way, NJR is going to get the all clear to hop into admin, take full control there. Sky still covering his cross from one of the side angles here too, so he'll more than likely be moving in relatively shortly behind his teammate, who just hopped in the window a few seconds ago. Meanwhile, on the Beast Coast side of things, we still have a pretty heavy hold focused on the basement to rotate around these players here, but it's Ghost that we're paying attention to, along with 1 or 2 others that are in the big power positions over towards bathroom right now.
Okay, well, DarkZero working their way into the map. Double air jab setup for flank watch, and as soon as we're talking about that, the first frag comes through for round 8, and it's going in favor of Beast Coast. NJR done and dusted early on here, as he continues to actually not struggle as much as he has in recent history here on DZ. 6-3-4, one of his better score lines here for the squad. Just very unfortunate circumstances early on here. Now, DarkZero working on these panels. Mint's going to get panel 1 first here. Pops up on the left-hand side and now has some deep lines of sight into the actual building.
Both teams very passive with how they're approaching this late round, though. As you can tell, they're both very respectful of each other and trying their best to avoid any direct, outright confrontations, trying to win off of the drone information and sneaky angles over everything else here. We'll see a trade come back here, but with Ghost going down, DarkZero will maintain the advantage. They're able to take down both Ghost and Foza. You're going to see that massive setup by the connector getting cleared out as well, giving them access to the bathroom, and certainly over the next couple seconds, allowing them to actually push down into the basement and begin their attack. It's going to be very close to the chest here for Beast Coast, as it'll come down to the wire in these final 30 seconds.
Well, Beast Coast does have some off angles that could possibly provide some frags on the entry here from DarkZero. But sitting on that timer now, and that's the big worry. They're looking for utility to clear across site so they can actually get the execute off. And yeah, as you said, this needs to happen. Hyper simply going to run through the laser gate because they know time is of the essence. Mint needs to get into this building and get a plant down, but Beast Coast continue to pile utility on top of it. Anthony with the ump downs one. The smoke is going to claim another as they continue to bear down on this DarkZero entry. Skies is all alone, and they're not going to have the time to try and reconcile what just happened. Round 8 going Beast Coast way.
Bit of a weird one there at the end from DarkZero. Seemed like they had a solid read in the situation and dealt with the roam game on top of getting great intel about what the actual site setup looked like. But at the same time, it seems as though the setup upstairs may have delayed them long enough to where they wasted their time down to that 20-second marker. Like we said, they were still investigating what was going on the site at that point. It seemed like they had a good idea, but all of a sudden they seemingly became aware of the timer and had to make a last-second rush. So I don't really know what was going on there for DarkZero, but everything fell apart at the end due to them being forced into a rushed execute when they ran out of time.
What? They're applying this to every single one of these sites. This is so very interesting. What it's seeming to me is that Beast Coast have identified the biggest problem with Consulate, which isn't a secret. We talk about it all the time, and I know that I talk about it all the time as well, so bear with me, Twitch chat. But windows on Consulate, right? That's what we talk about. The massive amount of pressure that you can get inside of early round and the very deep threats you can get on roam games and things like that. Well, with Castle and Aruni in play, it congests so much of this map from different, angles. Like, for instance, like what we have going on inside of Long Hallway here. I mean, or Long Dusk, whatever you want to call it. Like, things like this where they're actually preventing a lot of the angles that DarkZero want to have access to, or the entry points necessary to make some things happen on this map. They're just taking that away from them and forcing DarkZero to play through other means. I really, really like what they're doing here. But the big thing is how much influence truly is that combo going to have? Because as we saw inside of that last round, yes, they were able to delay a lot of time, but DarkZero weren't exactly stopped by that situation. They were still able to get rid of laser gates and handle everything else. It was simply the time that got up to them.
We're going to see Skies and any of the other members of DarkZero hop on Repel and see if anyone from Beast Coast will make a fatal mistake at the beginning of this round. So far, of course, none of their players making that mistake, but that could change over the next few moments here as DarkZero will use that initial time to try and hunt these guys down while their other teammates are focused on droning out of the upstairs, as well as the initial entry points are going to look like here. They can call the all clear. Players like NG are actually probably going to spend most of the round on this Repel, considering we're going up against upstairs site hold here. You can see Sippin still maintaining presence on the first floor, looking to cause issues in the early round here. Some fire back against the players that are trying to take down the front door, but ultimately, it's NJR on that Repel that finds the opening kill. It's against Aruni as well. Fozo going down as Sippin also has some pressure on him, and he very quickly escapes through that middle hatch down into the basement.
Good stuff here from Beast Coast as they continue to try and keep DarkZero out of the building. But again, it's rough beginnings here for them as Fozo has been taken down and they'll be put into the clutch. But we're halfway through the round now and they definitely have a chance here. Rudy with a big frag taking down Hyper, who's been lighting things up inside of the frag department for this squad. Beast Coast now equalizing things, but it seems as though this is how we're going to go between these two teams to finish out this game. Back and forth once again. Sippin finally fragged out, and DarkZero once again with the man advantage.
Moving in here, just quickly taking care of the default camera. Anthony actually going to take a lot of heat from the DarkZero attack as well here. Sustained spam coming from someone on DZ knocks not only him down, but as we'll just see now, Ghost falls to Eclipse on the entry by the front door too. DarkZero very quickly tearing apart the rest of this hold. Rudy literally stuck in a corner with nowhere to go there. So unfortunate for him, as he just has no capability to move, let alone make a play there. And with that, DarkZero take a very important round as they'll push themselves up onto match point.
I mean, this is just so very well done from DarkZero. This is just looking like textbook DZ, to be honest with you. The clears are great. Their communication's fantastic. The way that they're working onto the sites and holding those crosses, masterfully done from them. Especially coming into those last couple of frags that we just saw. Just fantastic angles that they were able to adopt and ended up having a lot of influence over those last couple of engagements. But now DZ up 6-3. They're here on map point, and the last two games of the day just kind of one-sided when it comes down to it. Lots of domination from DarkZero here, and they've just been running rounds together. I mean, even though it's singular round that BC was able to get, it wasn't utter domination. I mean, it was a very strong defensive round, but it was mostly down to, once again, that timer that stood in front of DarkZero. The very next round, they're able to adapt and work the map even faster the next time. So I mean, for Beast Coast, exactly what do you do at this point?
Well, they're going to have to rely on their split hold. It seems as their own choice here as they'll rotate into it once again, and more than likely have to double down on the aggressive roam game here too, just because of the nature of the site. Upstairs players going to have to do their job in a big way, but at the same time, they'll look to maintain the basement presence as well. DarkZero's clear capability so far, though, has not been challenged too much by the early game from Beast Coast. That has to change here and now. Unfortunately, without a significant shift in who's winning the early gun rounds, more than likely DarkZero are going to be controlling that big portion of the map at the beginning, and that'll put pressure on the remaining players from Beast Coast that managed to survive at that point. Let's see, though, if Beast Coast can change their own fate in the early round. They're even going to put some aggression potentially against the early clear towards Garage should DarkZero go for the immediate opening on that, which they will here. Two of the Selmas getting chucked out right from the get-go here as they want very early control of Garage. And that's going to send Sippin back to the inside of Cafeteria. BC also, or excuse me, Ghost also in the area here as well, but both of them seeming to not want to take the fight at the immediate contact here at Garage.
Yeah, DarkZero not showing face just yet. As you were talking about the Selma charges going down on Garage, so could have a late rotation coming in just there, but it seems like they want to try and get entry somewhere else. It'll be NJR. It's the first one in the building. He's worked his way in upstairs with Hyper, who's currently inside of console office. Now they're looking for some intel from NJR's kit. He wants to use that Inox to find these roamers, and I believe it's going to happen. Beast Coast has already been forced all the way back to the east side of the map. Pre-fire is coming through for the top of admin stairs, as well as a worry about what's currently going on over here. So when this Jackal track comes through, exactly what happens to this roam game from BC? Well, they don't have any supporting angles, truthfully. It's just a lot of players over here with no utility to really assist them. It's all down to firepower as DarkZero continue to inch their way forward. But again, this is where they got into trouble last time on these timers. And if Beast Coast are able to reproduce that round, they might be able to stay in this.
The other important thing right now is Beast Coast do seem to be aware of the fact that a Jackal is in play, and from what I can tell about their movement, they are being cautious of the fact their footsteps could be tracked later on and are trying to avoid, I should say, outright pushing into DarkZero territory so as to give those away easily. Regardless, though, Anthony's still going to be sussed out here, taken down by NJR as well, so there's the first successful track going into DZ's favor. Bit of a brutal clear, but the big question, and a very quick answer as well, do they notice Ghost on the inside? Yes, they do. Eclipse on top of that's also going to kill Rudy. Everything is now falling to Sippin, who was able to successfully fall back, well, just barely, that is, at under 25, and Fozo, who still sits alive downstairs.
Well, this is just, man, this is such a difficult round right now for Beast Coast. DarkZero with a fake early on, with the Selma charges going down on the garage wall. It was a top clear all along, and since those reinforcements were adjusted all the way across, they didn't have a chance to actually try and defend the top floor, and that's why DarkZero is just running amok for this BC squad right now. It's all down to Fozo, but it's not going to matter. Second flawless for DarkZero inside of round 10, and that'll seal the deal in between these two. DarkZero simply too damn clean, boy.
Yeah, a promising start, it seemed, from Beast Coast there within those first two rounds, able to tear apart some of the DarkZero defense, but sadly, DarkZero very quickly was able to adjust for that, take over pretty much the rest of the half past that point, and even moving into the second half, only one more round picked up by the members of Beast Coast here. So they're going to end the map 7-3 in DarkZero's favor. Sky's having himself, I mean, everybody really on DarkZero having themselves a pretty impressive game there. Sky's definitely the most standout one to me when it came to actual mid-round impact, but overall, the stats